May have. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, Sons of Montezuma. I don't know which number this episode is, but we're getting up there. It's maybe our seventh season covering Aztecs football, San Diego State sports in general. And boy, we just concluded a successful season, right, guys? It's a success. It's a success. Get that into your brain. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button before you guys do anything, of course. And the chat is only open here on YouTube. I can see your guys' chat questions. Super chats are open as well, so we want to make sure we have that available. Not really feeling like it too much today, but you know what? I still am. Still am an Aztec warrior, so I'm very proud to be an Aztec warrior. James to my left. What's going on, James? How are you doing? And of course, you guys know Fiend. James, how are you doing, man?
Oh man, I'm hanging in there, dude. That was tough on Friday, but kind of recovering from that, you know.
I think James' computer is the one that decided the Mountain West Championship, dude. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Did it
What's
stop
going
up
on,
you
Fiend?
guys?
It's a little computer. That's a little computer love. A little zapping Roger. Roger. It's all good though.
Hey, I know how that feels. I had to go to the Ethernet, so I'm much better with my stream. But I survived Vegas. We'll talk about that, and I think the next episode that we do. And I drove home during the game and was listening on the radio, either celebrating while I'm driving or punching the steering wheel. And got home right at the end of the game, and yeah, it's been a rough, I would say a rough week for Aztec fans.
A rough feast week for San Diego State,
For
and
sure.
they fall 23-17 in double overtime on the football side. And like Fiend said, this is a double dose of our episode. So once this stream ends, same channel, new stream, we'll be talking some hoops. Mike will get in on the action, all that good stuff. But the Aztecs, as we talked about it, they had the fate, their destiny in the palm of their hands after leading the Mountain West pretty much the whole regular season for the most part. San Diego State comes up short, going from 3-9 to 9-3 on the season. Just a tremendous turnaround. But the final game on the road in ABQ, it was something that we talked about. We didn't get a chance to talk about San Jose State, the senior night at San Diego, which they were victorious, right? But coming into this game, we knew this was going to be probably the toughest challenge of the season. These last two games in particular, of course, Boise State was the third to last game, which that seemed like that was going to be the toughest one. But injuries, Mountain West Conference, it's a long season. It's a game of attrition. And coming into this game against New Mexico, it was going to be a really, really tough challenge, knowing that the offense really wasn't hitting on all cylinders, down your top receivers, banged up Denegal, pretty much playing hurt all year. But you know what? This is what it is. This is the territory of football. It's a football season. And man, to make it this far, there's no excuses, right? Are there any excuses? Are there any excuses, James?
No, there's never excuses, man. There's stuff you can complain about, but there's no excuses. They just got beat. It's crazy that it was basically two big plays by New Mexico that were the difference in the game. The defense held them pretty much to nothing almost the entire game, except for two big plays that cost them the game.
Yeah, I wanted to include in the highlights at the very beginning, the first turnover of the game, right? And I feel like you could say penalties, you could say turnovers, you could say missed opportunities. It's all a way of explaining what happened in the game. No excuses, none of that. But I wanted to include that first fumble in the game because you hear the commentators talking about it, and they're like, "Oh, I think you might have hit the ground before you fumbled the ball." I don't remember seeing a review of it. They maybe went to a commercial break. I don't remember. I might have to go rewatch that segment again. But it feels like that was kind of the theme of the game. You know what I mean? There was a lot of different things that were happening that, especially on offense, right? You take a step forward and then penalties or a turnover or whatnot. Fiend, what stood out to you in this game in general? no excuses, but what stood out to you in this game?
What stood out to me is we pretty much dominated this game, but it came down to some miscues that cost us the game. And for as much as Coach preaches about the Aztec fast, focused, accountable, smart, tough, I felt like we didn't really live up to that today. Just at the game, because of some of these massive I mean, the touchdown that got called back because Jackson Ford was covered up. Like you said, the fumble, the 2 touchdown runs on 4th and short. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? Like it shouldn't. Okay, the first time I get it, the second time should not have happened. And so losing containment, right? That, and that ultimately led to our demise. I felt like we should have won this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to argue with that when you say dominated the game, right? You kind of look at the stats, right? The stats are always going to speak out. New Mexico 1 for 11 on 3rd downs, guys. 1 for 11, but 2 for 2 on 4th downs, right? Those 4th downs that you speak of, and it's just breaking that contain, right? Keeping that edge contained, and so you want to say it's like a fluky play, because the Aztecs pretty much bottled them up for the most part, other than those plays. But then you brought up Jackson Ford, right? The tight end, and here's the part that kind of crushes that play is that our tight ends are seldomly used all season long in pass catching plays, right? Or even targets. So to call that touchdown back, that was a play of the game for me. I mean, other than the interception deep in New Mexico territory that was also flagged for a pass interference. These are all things that you can point to. I mean, that's probably 10 points off the board, maybe, or 7 at least. I know for sure. The missed long field goal, that was like a 52-yarder from Gabe, who's, that's well within his range. But how much do you think, James, was it the moment? Was it the crowd, the energy? Was it the referees? I mean, these were all factors that kind of come into a home field advantage type of a situation, I think, right?
I think it was a combination of all of those things. That's why it's a home field advantage, man. I think the biggest play to me was the terrible pass interference call and the interception. That pretty much would have sealed the game right there. That was pretty much the difference between a win and a loss in regular time. But yeah, it was a terribly officiated game, but it leaned heavily more terrible against San Diego State, but they made bad call. They called a terrible pass interference call against New Mexico too. So it was just an awfully officiated game. And that's like, for anybody who argues we should stay in this conference, I mean, that game is like the perfect microcosm of why we should not stay in this conference, why it's good we're getting out of it.
Why we should not be in that conference. This obviously was the last Mountain West Conference game for San Diego State, and the last chance that these two teams were going to play each other in that conference, right? Ken Abels, credit to him, he pointed out to me, aside from, I think, Fresno State, New Mexico is actually the team that we've played the most over through the years, and it never really registers to me. It never really stands out. I don't think there's ever really been that many like rivalry moments of football that you can really make a mark in your brain. So this is definitely going to be one, though. I mean, the championship was on the line, guys, and the opportunity was there. I think those rivalry games kind of have a dose of those mysterious whistles, and I mean, talk about all the craziness that happened in regulation, the false pass interference in my mind, then you get into overtime. The first pass from scrimmage, or the first opportunity the Aztecs have, they go for a pass over the middle, and it's batted up in the air, intercepted. When I saw that, guys, I just shook my head because, it's one of those situations where we're down our 2 top receivers. The passing game hasn't been efficient, and they're probably like 10th in the Mountain West. Credit to the receivers in this game. They gave it their best shot, right? But when you got the ball down that close, that's a roll of the dice to me, man. Right over the middle, where anything can happen. Over the middle is where the majority of the interceptions are thrown, just because it's a high traffic area. So, what was going through your mind, Fiend, when you saw that? Because I know you had to be honking your horn or cursing out some bystanders on the road.
No, I was actually home by that point, so I did get to see that live. But it was a good throw. It just went right through Donovan Brown's hands, and he's your most sure-handed receiver, and so he should have made the catch, but maybe he heard footsteps or whatever. It just unfortunate bounce and goes to the to the Lobos. I would have liked to seen more running there, but I think I'll be honest, I think towards really in the second half, fourth quarter, I would say the offensive line got really winded. I wonder if the elevation affected them. It didn't seem like they were getting as much push on New Mexico, and we weren't really running the ball like we were in the first half, and so I agree with you. Throwing over the middle is probably not smart. Would have liked to seen like a fade route or something like that to the end zone, but I thought at that point it was game over.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more about initially I wanted them to run the ball. You know me, I'm a big run the ball guy, but that seems like most of the second half, but especially like you said, the fourth quarter, the New Mexico defense really stiffened up against the run, whether they made some adjustments or like you said, the offensive line got a little winded. They just weren't getting it wasn't as effective and successful on the ground as they were in the first half. So they kind of were in a position where they kind of had to throw it a little bit. So I'm not going to fault the coach for making that call. You can argue about throwing it between the tackles. That's kind of that usually is a soft spot for defenses if they're expecting you to run. But just a great play by the defensive lineman to get a hand up there to tip it a bit. So it is what it is. Luckily for us, we came back on defense and made an insane play. That was our guy. It was McDougal, right?
McDougal, yeah.
Yeah, what a play, man! I saw it live happen. I saw his fist go in there live happen. Then when they showed the replay, it was just amazing. He like timed it perfectly, hit it right on the head. It was nuts, man.
What a great moment, that whole stadium, right? I mean, they've been hats off to them, right? I mean, they're a raucous crowd, and when we punched that ball out, everything just went silent for that brief moment. Fantastic play, recovery, all that good stuff. I don't know if I would call them a fantastic crowd, but they were a raucous crowd because I heard some things, man. I heard some things. I heard it was very Pitt-esque, and we've been to the Pit, Fiend. We've been to the Pit. Boy. I might have been escorted out of that thing if you guys wouldn't have held me back. I'm glad I wasn't there at University Stadium. I do want to share Sean Lewis's. I heard you, Fiend, talk about his statement, and credit to Coach Lewis, 3-9 to 9-3 this season, and I saw that he put out a statement. Is that correct? I want to put that up there. It says, while we fell short of earning a spot in the Mountain West Championship game, I could not be more proud of our student athletes, coaches, and support staff. Together, we've delivered a tremendous 9-3 season, including a perfect 6-0 record at Snapdragon. And what this team has accomplished is truly impressive. Now we have an incredible opportunity ahead. We've earned a chance to compete in a bowl game and bring home a 10th win of the season. Our program is built on being focused, accountable, smart, and tough. And this year has shown exactly what Aztec football stands for. Proud to lead, humble to serve. And he signs off, Coach Lewis. I thought that was pretty cool. I really appreciated those words. Fiend, you had an opinion on that before I kind of spiel a little bit.
No, I mean, I thought he was leaving. When you see those with the headline Aztec Nation, it's usually a transfer portal kid, announcing that he's leaving, and saying thank you to the fans and everything. And I was like, oh shit. he's leaving. And then I had to, and it's fine print, right? So then you got to dig deep into it and look at it. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's congratulating, a great season and that there's more work to do. I was like, okay, good. That was a big relief because his name has been attached to some of the open coaching positions that are around, one right up the road at UCLA. So, we'll
get
kind of
into that.
anxiously waiting, to hear if he is indeed staying. So that was good to see him put out that statement.
We'll get into the coaching openings, but you kind of mirror that against New Mexico and what they put out. They put out their own statement today too, or this morning when they found out they weren't making the Mountain West championships. And hey, while we respect the tie-breaking procedures, they don't agree. Basically, they're saying these young men showed up every week. Do I have to read this whole thing? Do I have to read this whole thing?
Didn't they put out another statement too, though?
Well, they're very upset. They're very upset, Fiend. I mean, in fact, they did put out an addendum, I believe, to this notice of how their disappointment was. And I don't know if anybody has seen. Are we going to break some news here? Are we going to possibly break some news here? But they put out an addendum and they said, while we respect the wide spectrum of culinary traditions across the Southwest, corn in the salsa, they want to clarify where New Mexico stands. That corn in the salsa is a part of their very meaningful role in New Mexico salsa. And they even signed it with a big old piece of corn down there at the bottom. Fernando Laveau. But they stand very strong that black beans in salsa has no place, and that's the principle that is non-negotiable for them. So hey, they got to have some kind of standards, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what was that last paragraph? There's something about that they were admitting to, there was some wrongdoing in the game.
Well, fortunate breaks paying off the refs, I believe. So anyways, I don't know if you guys know, but that cracked me up all day yesterday. I think this morning New Mexico fans were probably more upset about our corn and the salsa bit than they were about missing out on the Mountain West Championship. Dude. If you don't know where that's coming from, well,
we put corn in our salsa. We love corn in our salsa. All right, this is New Mexico.
Oh, you guys got to see it.
Lots
you guys got to see
You
it.
can't have enough. Watch this. We put corn in our salsa. We love corn in our salsa. Sometimes let's go Aztecs.
The best part, lots of corn goes into salsa in New Mexico.
We put corn in our salsa. We love corn in our salsa. In New Mexico, lots of corn goes into salsa. Don't be shy. Dump it in.
We put corn in our salsa.
We love corn in our salsa.
Sometimes black beans too. Go Aztecs.
Oh man,
so ridiculous. I love it.
That's like the only thing good AI is for, dude.
corn and the salsa memes.
They really got offended by that. That was so funny.
Well, what are you gonna do, guys?
Push
What are
the
you gonna
button
do?
there.
What are you gonna do? Day one, Rob. Yeah, I agree. There's no excuses. At the end of the day, we didn't execute enough on offense. That's been the Achilles heel all season. That's been the Achilles heel.
I'll tell you what, though. I know the way the game ended didn't look so hot. Mainly, there was a lot of stupid penalties, but they were actually starting to throw the ball a little better towards the end of the game. It seemed like Denegal was starting to feel it a little bit. So I hope that's a good sign. Hopefully we'll see how they perform in the bowl game. And then hopefully we get some guys that are out for the rest of the year this year come back next year. Hopefully we don't lose them in the portal. But the passing game might be finally coming together next year. They got the real offensive line, of course, but I'm kind of excited by Denegal kind of started showing a little bit more touch, and he started getting a little more confident towards the end of that game. So I don't know, man. There's things to look forward to in this bowl game. That's the next thing. I'm excited to see which bowl game they're going to go to.
So missing out on the championship game, obviously a big bummer. So the LA Bowl is not not in play. So those bowl games that are available, I mean, it's going to be a Boise UNLV third time in a row matchup, and essentially there's nothing you could do about it because the computers are what the computers are, right? The data is what the data is, what their criteria is. What is that last one before we get into those bowl matchups, James? That sports, what was the last metric that you had to pay for? Because all the other metrics were available to the public, but that last one that everybody was kind of hanging their head on was like you got to pay to have access to that. What is like sports something?
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. Sports analytics or something like that. But yeah, that's one like the college football playoff committee uses, and like the
Sports
schools
Source.
actually use. What was it called? Sports Source.
Sports Source rankings, the Connolly, the ESPN, the KPI, and then Sports Source rankings.
Yeah, that's one that like real people in the industry use, I guess. So you got to pay for it. But whatever. I mean, we got helped out a lot because it looked really bad last going into the last group of games Saturday night. Because I saw an updated ranking and we were like way down, like fourth. And Cal beating SMU like gave us a big boost, and it made it actually kind of close. So it was actually closer than I thought it was going to be. Had like a outside shot still get even with New Mexico or UNLV winning. So if UNLV would have lost, I think we were in for sure.
Yeah.
It's just stupid that it even comes down to computers. It should have never been set up like this. I think certainly, your record, head-to-head matchups, then something like point differential within the conference. Keep it within the conference, right? Some of these, look, Boise going to Notre Dame, New Mexico going to Michigan, I think, helped some of those rankings. Obviously, UNLV, out of conference was kind of soft. I mean, they beat a, good, I mean, not even a good, they were 3-9 UCLA team when they had their coach that they fired, right? And they were just a total mess. So I totally disagree with the way this whole thing was set up. To me, it's another validation to get out of this conference, because we're not going to have that again. We're not going to have an unbalanced schedule. We're going to have, everyone's going to play each other head to head. And like I said, they could have made it a lot different. If it was strictly point differential, we would have been hosting the game.
Well,
even with that.
No, I'm sorry, dude. When I looked at the actual conference website, when they talked about the scenarios on Friday, they said it would go to record against common opponents first. And it showed out of the four teams, if it ended up how it wound up with the four teams being tied, it was supposed to be, according to the Mountain West Conference website, it was supposed to be Boise State against New Mexico, because they were both 2-1 against the other two teams. And San Diego State was 1-1, and UNLV was 0-2. So I don't know how they skipped that part.
But basically on that website, I know what happened with that. On that website, it said that if every team has not played each other, then they're still tied. Then you go on to the next tiebreaker, which was the obscure 4 composite metrics, that we had to wait yesterday and through the night till this morning, like it was an election, to figure out who's in the Mountain West Championship. It was stupid. I mean, guys, I mean, it should have been within conference, right? Within conference play, based on your record, based on how you did against opponents within the conference. That's how I feel it should have gone. But whatever. I'm just glad that we're finally getting out of this conference. We don't have to deal with this crap again.
So whatever bowl games are now in play, James, I think what we put out in our poll yesterday, Fiend, it was like New Mexico Bowl, Potato Bowl, Arizona Bowl. I don't think Hawaii Bowl is up because we actually played there already this season. Another game we want to forget, but I think those are those the 3. I think there aren't any other tie-ins, considering there's quite a bit of bowl eligible teams, right?
There's 3, and we have like some backup tie-ins, and then we have some like ESPN bowls that are kind of they kind of throw them together at the last minute, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. They have a good enough record where they might get shopped around by ESPN. But if it's up to me, I'm hoping for the Arizona Bowl at this point, because at least it's a close trip. It's a cool city to go to, and the opponent won't be anything special. It's a MAC school, but who cares? I just want to see the Aztecs play again and have fun on a road trip.
Yeah. Yeah, I was afraid of that MAC opponent. Well, it won't be NIU, that's for sure. Okay, other than that, I mean, is it really going to matter? I know we were talking about Coach Lewis, Fiend thinking maybe he was announcing his departure there, but December 3rd is the early signing period, right, for high schoolers. I mean, if these next couple of days, it's going to say a lot about, the pecking order of jobs that are available. It's a reality. With Eck and Lewis not making this championship game, I mean, is there a possibility in your guys' mind? I don't see necessarily Lewis, I guess, being lured away, right? I'm sure he's been getting his fair share of calls and knocks on his door. I don't think UCLA is going to happen personally from all the chatter we've been hearing. I mean, we've been hearing that for the last few weeks. I have USC buddies hitting me up saying there's smoke. I don't see it personally, but you guys got any opinions on that?
I don't think it's a good job, to be honest. I mean,
me neither.
The fact that you're playing at, at the Rose Bowl, they've had some talk. What are they? They're definitely going to SoFi.
Yeah,
they're
going to
there.
SoFi.
When are they going to be playing there?
I want to say like next year, dude.
Next year.
I'm not positive on that, but I want to say it starts like next year.
I didn't know that was official.
Yeah.
I don't know how much interest there is in that program.
I think that's a terrible job, because they're like at the bottom of the barrel of the Big Ten in terms of money they spend on football. So like you're going to go to a bottom feeder Big Ten school. I mean, yes, you're going to make a lot more money. But I think Coach Lewis is a guy that likes to compete and he wants to compete. And if you're going to a school that's not really going for the football program, I don't know if that's a school you want to go to try to take your next step in your progression as a head coach. Anything's possible. Yeah, go ahead, dude. Anything's possible, but like you were going to say.
I was just saying, I don't think you're setting yourself up for success there. I think if you want to make that move, I mean, it would make more sense if, like, say, Brennan from Arizona, who's an alum at UCLA, comes back to his alma mater and coaches, and there's an opening at Arizona, then I could see someone like Lewis maybe going there, taking a step up to the Big 12, where maybe it's not so competitive. You're not playing against the Michigans, Penn States, Ohio States, those teams, and you have a chance to get to a college football playoff. I think if he takes that job, he'd be lucky to get a bowl game.
I mean, you figure Ohio State is always going to be there. Michigan, you got Oregon, you got Wisconsin, you got, so many different Big Ten teams that UCLA, I mean, they could barely even compete in the Pac-12. Just don't see it. Just don't see it. But like you said, James, anything could happen. Anything could happen. I'm not sure if there's any other programs that are on the radar as far as Lewis goes. What about Eck? You guys got any thoughts about Eck? I know he's another Wisconsin guy, right? Him and Lewis, both Wisconsin guys. But Eck would be an interesting one. The fact that they didn't get to the championship, however, though, I think that might – I don't know if that helps or hurts, that helps or hurts his cause. 1 year, though. 1 year he's been there in New Mexico.
I don't think it really matters in terms of if another school is looking at him. But I just don't know if there's anything. I mean, I don't know him all that well. I've followed his career a little bit. I guess it showed a little bit, but I kind of paid attention to Idaho when they dropped down to FCS. Yeah, I just don't know. He's kind of a Midwest guy. I don't know if any of those kind of jobs are open. So I think he might stay one more year in New Mexico and try to dominate the kind of watered down Mountain West next year. And he might be able to make some noise nationally next year with a watered down conference.
Yeah, I think with Eck, I agree with you. I mean, I think if he takes a job, it's going to have to be something where he makes more money. He's only making like $1 million or something like that. I mean, it's only $1 million, right? But for, I mean, a team that finished, at the top of the Mountain West, I mean, Lewis is making like 1.8 million, I think. So there's probably more incentive if he's from a financial standpoint to move up to a bigger conference. But I don't know. I have no idea which if he's going to stay there or not.
Well, I guess they're in the rearview mirror now, officially, right? New Mexico and the Mountain West.
Not our problem anymore.
Not our problem. Well, guys, I'm sure we can probably record after the bowl game, whatever bowl game that's going to be. We can really take a good look at this team and the program, the state of it, who's going to still be there by the time that bowl game does come around, because a lot of seniors on this team, right? That's what makes this team so successful. And you can kind of have a better understanding of where this program is, what this year actually meant, as far as a whole, and putting things in perspective. But I mean, they have a chance for 10 wins, which is one of the most win totals this program has had. Not the very top, but definitely up there. James, any thought on Coach Lewis, the job that he actually did here? I know kind of speculated on elsewhere, but just on the job that he's done in these 2 years. 2 years.
I mean, he had one of the biggest turnarounds in the history of this program. I can't think of one off the top of my head, a bigger change in record from one season to the next. So yeah, and it's not like they were a few seasons removed from the 12-2 year. So it's not like he took over a rolling program. I think he did a tremendous job. I think everybody talks about the offense. I think the offense will come around. He's done it everywhere he's gone. It's just a matter of finding his guys to get it going. And I think it's probably going to come sooner than later. But you can't argue with success, man. I mean, he's done it. He's got these guys that fully bought in, and the way he was able to retain all those guys that could have left after last year, such a terrible year. I think that was like a huge recruiting coup that he had that's kind of downplayed or hasn't been paid attention to like it should have been. And I think that bodes well for the future going forward, our access and activity in the transfer portal. I think that's a good sign for seasons going forward. So I'm pleased, man. Yes, I want the offense to be better, but that's the one thing when they hired that guy, I'm not worried about it. It's going to happen. It's just he's got to get his guys, and he's got to get the situation correct for the kind of offense he wants to run, because he's done it everywhere. Kent State, Colorado, when he was an offensive coordinator at Syracuse, he's done it everywhere he's been as an offensive coach. So that's going to come. It's just going to have a little patience. I'm sure there wasn't a lot of a great offensive foundation when he got here. We've got over a decade of terrible offense here. So it's going to take a little time to get it going.
Fiend, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look, if you take a step back and just look objectively, I don't think any of us thought that we would even have a shot at the Mountain West Conference title at the beginning of the year. I was happy if we just got to 6-6 and got to a bowl game. That was a successful season. So to exceed that is awesome. Yeah, it stings because we were in the driver's seat and we had the chance to play for a Mountain West championship, and we kind of let it slip through our hands. So that hurts. But when you look at the full body of work, I mean, it's really impressive what Lewis has done with this turnaround in year 2. And yeah, we hope he and Orich, because I think Orich will be a hot commodity as well for the let's give our props to the defense. They were outstanding this year and kept us in a lot of games, and might have helped us win some games. So great job all around by the staff. Really impressed. And my enthusiasm for Aztec football came back this year. it had been kind of waning the last couple of years just because of the losses we were taking, and how you saw the program that was once great kind of fall into decline, and now it's on the way back. So we have something to be excited of and about to build on for the future.
Yeah, I mean, boy, that defense, like you're saying, Coach Ulrich. I mean, he might save some of those games. I mean, there was some games where he was literally shutouts. I mean, how many shutouts? How many 3-point performances did they let up? I agree with you, James. I think it's they showed much improvement offensively. I don't know if I'm as optimistic as everyone or both of you guys. I think there's some big questions. If this year had not gone as successful as it did, I shudder to think what would have happened. But the proof is in the pudding, and I think bringing in the GM as well, Caleb Davis as well. I think that them working together with the staff, and really bringing in those players that they specifically wanted for the scheme, or for what they wanted in the locker room. I'm excited to see them go at it again for another season, and for them to build upon what they've done this year. But yeah, need to see a little bit more. Hey, amazing year. I picked them 6-6. I'll wear that. I will wear that. So, I know James, when the hire was first made, after last year, was that patience, that message of patience. Like, hey, a new coach, you got to give them at least 3-4 years to implement what they're trying to do, the recruiting class, all that good stuff. But we're Aztecs fans. We're unrealistic, right? We're unrealistic. But I'm excited. I am excited. If the retention I see in the chat right now, that retention speaks volumes of Coach Lewis and his staff, and I believe that very much. I mean, that whole defense came back. The foundation blocks of the offense came back, and with Denegal another year, perhaps. I know the competition is going to be fierce, because those opportunities were there. But if you can grow upon that, I think there's some really, really good foundational blocks there with the staff and with players coming back. Oh boy. Well, guys, anything else we need to tap into? I know we got some comments in the chat a little bit. Long-term success. I think San Diego State is set up with the stadium, of course, the revenues coming in from that. Tough weekend for FC. Of course, that's a big boost to San Diego State with that rental of the stadium, right, and everything that they bring, the vibe-wise, to San Diego. That was a brutal loss, but first year as well for them, incredible year. But anything else we're missing, guys? Because I know this is it's going to be interesting when we find out next week which bowl game. Other than that, just got to wait and see until December 3rd and how things are gonna pan out. We might be talking about a whole new staff. Who knows, man?
It was a tough way to end the regular season, but you got to be excited about the momentum of the program after this year. There's a lot to be happy about, a lot to be excited to celebrate. So you got to kind of flush it out and move on, like the players are supposed to do after a loss.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. And while I don't agree with some of the personnel decisions that that Lewis made on the field, he really did a great job of trying to get out people to games and sell Aztec football and with all the promotion and everything. And love the recruiting that he is doing, especially the hometown recruits, and really committing to recruiting San Diego. And so and the pieces that they brought in the portal. I mean, some of these guys, you look at like a Niles King or August Salvati, or the guys on the line, Kalen Ellis and Bayo Kaniki, Jacob Bostic. I mean, they were all really good fits for this team. And so like you said, hats off to the GM and to the coaching staff for identifying these guys and plugging the holes to put this team together. And that gives me hope that they're going to continue to do that and find gems in the portal.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting, especially with so many seniors now. Though there's gonna be some big roles, a lot more of those positions to fill.
Sure.
That's my hesitation on it, is that you're gonna have to bring in a lot more waves of guys on both sides of the line, right? Especially on the offensive side of the line. But if they can make it happen,
I think on the offensive line, it's not as bad as it looks right now. I know Finchner, I always mess up his name.
Fincher,
he missed the whole year. He was going to be a starter. Borjan, I think, has another year. So that's two guys right there. And I don't know if I think Kanike is done, but he might have another year. So if they can, at least Finchner and Borjan, if they can bring those two back, that's at least the building blocks, the starting of an offensive line right there. And then they had some guys that played this year in backup roles that hopefully can step up. So I'm gonna withhold judgment on the offensive line situation until after what the transfer window is, the January 2nd to like the 15th or something like that. So we'll see what happens in the transfer portal again, and then spring practice, bro. We'll get a good look there and see what's going on. It won't be too long after that.
Yeah, that freshman Ashton, I can't pronounce his last name. It starts with a W, but the guy's like 6'9". He's just a monster. He's a true freshman. He'll be a redshirt freshman next year. It wouldn't surprise me if he competes for a starting spot on that offensive line. And so I just expect us to plug holes and keep moving along, kind of like our basketball team does.
Very rational response there, Fiend. Very rational response. Oh boy.
Well, I don't get this. New Mexico has owned SDSU for a while now. Where did that come from?
Somebody spiked the salsa. Somebody spiked the salsa.
They must not be looking at the same history of records as I am. But
put some peyote in that salsa.
It's okay, guys. It's okay. Rocky Long enjoyed his time in San Diego much more than he did in Albuquerque.
For sure. He couldn't wait to get out of there.
He actually won Mountain West championships in San Diego.
This is truth. This is facts. Check the facts. All right, everybody. Before we take off, just want to once again encourage you guys to check out the online shop, sonsofmontezuma.com. We have all of our different merch, clothing, shoes, posters, drinkware. You guys probably need that right about now, the way things have been this last week. Shot glasses, koozies, steins, pints, mugs, all that good stuff. Make sure you guys are checking out sonsofmontezuma.com, and you can save
stein right here, baby.
Yeah, buddy. 15% off using the promo code MONTY. And we still got our hat deal. If you buy two of our caps, you get a free t-shirt. So got some lids there for you guys to go check out. So definitely some good holiday gifts for the Aztec fan that you know. And yeah, stock up.
I took advantage of that deal. I'm waiting for my stuff to get here, man. It's supposedly shipped, so I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Okay, guys. Well, we can sit here. We can go all day with the chat, but you know what? We're gonna get on to our basketball episode in just a few minutes. Hopefully, you guys could go watch the rewind, cover some issues that maybe some of you guys are asking already in the chat that we already covered. Make sure you share this with an Aztec friend of yours, and we'll see you guys in the basketball episode in just about, I want to say, 10 minutes or so. So, same channel, different stream link, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. All right.
Go Aztecs.
sonsofmontezuma.com. Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
See ya.